So I see you have. I always like whenever scouts that have like never met each other. There's always that like, oh, okay, what do you got? All right, you got some knots up here. All right, camp school. All right, camp school. Okay, so
can I pick apart your uniform and ask questions? Because I'm looking at you guys all decorated. And, okay, so what are the gray little? You have gray, I guess, bands up on the shoulder.
Epaulets.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are there different colors?
There is. So depending on the color, depends where you're registered.
Okay.
So a silver or gray would mean you're registered at the council level. That's kind of your primary volunteer role. So you'll see guys with gold, that means on the national staff, or so different colors will pertain to where your registration spot is.
Okay.
When I was a youth, it was red. Was the like if you were just a scout, if you were a kid, you would have red ones, or like the leaders in your troop would have red ones. And then when I worked at camp, you were like employed by council, so you were. Our camp had like a camp venture crew that we were like all in. Right. So yeah, so we had the silver ones. Yeah.
Because they all wear green shirts like Eric has.
Yeah. That's pretty common too. Yeah.
My other shirt has green for this venturing crew that I am part of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you combine them? Like, can you do like?
Oh, there's always units that come up with creative strategies of whatever colors, and
it's kind of one of those things too, where like scouting, it's more like guidelines, obviously, right? Like it's not the military, so it's like yes, this is the proper way, but like I've seen troops with they'll put like their troop numbers, or like they'll have ones that have like fleur-de-lis and stuff on them, and no one's gonna like you take those off right now, like
well, there might be a few.
Yeah, there are some, or like if you go to Jambo with those, you'll get some
Jambo.
You'll get some crusty,
someone like my age.
I didn't say. No. Remember that movie, We Were Soldiers? Did you ever see that movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's like the young chipper guy. He's like, "Morning, Sergeant." He's like, "How do you know what kind of day it is?" Like, there's always guys like that they were in the army and then they put this on and they think they're still a staff sergeant like in the army. Yeah.
So I know you were explaining I know about Eagle Scout. You were explaining how this one is the adult version of Eagle Scout, but I see you guys have several more. So you have like this. This is a khaki border. You have one with green.
Yeah, they don't make them anymore. That's how old I am.
Okay, that's cool though. I like that. Like,
the ones now are mainly only khaki that are official. This was made back in the 70s, I think, is when they.
That's so cool.
I was going to date that for you.
I don't worry about those things. I enjoy life where I am.
There you go.
But serious, that's all it is. It's just to match the uniform.
So the purple
this one was a religious award that I earned as a youth.
Very cool.
And that's actually the Arrow of Light, which you earn as a Cub Scout.
Okay.
So at each level, Scouts have one rank, I will say, that can be worn and recognized as an adult. And that's all that is. And this just happens to be a venturing award.
Cool.
The purple one, is that the Catholic one?
Well, all religions will be the same.
Oh, that you got the religious one as a kid?
The only difference is reverse the colors, and you got the religious award as an adult.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So if you had silver with a purple knot, that just means they got it as an adult.
If I pulled up my Scout version of a DD-214, like I would qualify to wear those because I earned the Arrow of Light as a kid, and then I earned the Holy Day, whatever the Catholic one is.
Adult Day.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I don't know, probably 50 different square knots that are in circulation at any given moment, and they'll come. Three of those are youth awards. Maybe there's more. Several of those are recognitions, for service, whether for just volunteerism, and there's some of their training awards you earn along the way for having completed training for your certain position or level, and having done it for a number of years. So
I think we would have qualified. There's like one for creating a new unit.
Yeah, so one voice award.
So like we could get that one.
I want a uniform now.
Yeah. we're gonna get you to start a new unit and earn your first square knot. That's what we're gonna do.
There we go.
I need to learn knots.
There's some guys. You've seen like military veterans. Yeah. It goes like all the way up.
Yeah.
I know guys that like it goes under the collar. Like they'll get it. You're only supposed to wear what, 3 rows of them?
They recommend 3.
Yeah, but there's always that one guy. There was a kid that I was in Scouts with that like every square inch of his uniform like had something, and it was like he just looked like a goof. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like
in general.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still looking. So I see that on you have this. It looks like a powder horn.
It is
a
powder horn. There was it's a type of training that Scouts have run to encourage leaders to learn about a variety of activities that they can involve their units with. So, for example, our council ran a powder horn training back in 2015. I happen to have been on the staff, and we did all sorts of activities. We did shooting, pistol, rifle, shotgun,
Very cool.
muzzle loaders. We did cooking. We did orienteering. We were even unique enough, this hadn't been done before. We had one of the companies come from Rochester and do a gaming
That's cool.
setup. Because again, you got to meet the needs of your customers.
Yeah, of course.
And the youth were involved with gaming, so we brought it in, and why not have a troop meeting where you have a gaming night?
Yeah.
And have a little tournament or whatever. But that's what that was.
Cool.
It was a training that went over 3 days, and again, we just put in as much as we could, caving, aquatic type things,
Mhm.
kayaking.
Massive introduction to skills on a variety of levels. So, as a leader, one of the things we find out as a leader, you're very reluctant to do skills with the kids that you're not familiar with. And
Sure.
so it's kind of a way to make a soft introduction to some of these topics to people to hopefully say,
Yeah.
hey, I really love this caving idea. Let's go try this again.
Very cool.
And what we also gave them was contacts. So like, for example, I gave them my contacts and the other instructors in our council and said, you want to do shooting sports? Here are the people, contact them. They'd love to do it for you. You want to do aquatics? Here's some contacts
So
for
there's
aquatics.
networking involved.
Exactly.
Cool.
So some people got it confused and thought it was a training, but really it wasn't a training, it's almost a networking thing, an experiential network.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
And I
Yeah.
see above the troop numbers, like you have Iroquois Trail, you have Seneca, that's just your
Council.
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 Yep.
You have a purple one. You guys, I guess they're both purple, but they're different. You have, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. What's it?
So this is called your lodge flap. I'll put mine out.
Oh, I don't even have mine on. Oh, look at that.
So in the Boy Scouts, there is the Order of the Arrow. So that
Can we
was
talk
start.
about
Yeah.
it? Okay,
yeah.
okay, just making sure.
So the scouting goes back to like the early 1900s. Started in 1910 in the USA, and shortly thereafter, I think in 1913, maybe it was like real shortly after, they wanted to establish somewhat of a mix between like a fraternal organization and like a national honor society of the best scouts that exemplified the scout ideals and all that kind of stuff. And it was based on camping, heavily based on camping. So as a youth to qualify, is it still 20 some days or 14?
20 days and nights. I think, 20 days and nights of camping? 50.
Yeah.
50 days.
Something
at
like
least
that. And
one
you-
long term.
you-
One long-term week at summer camp.
Yeah. So like within 1 year, you've got to go camping 3 to 4 weekends and go to summer camp, right? So you've got to be involved. And then every year your troop will do an election and they'll say, only people, I think it's one of the only organizations in the world where its members are chosen by non-members. So
That's cool.
the only people that can vote are the people that aren't in it already. At least that's how my troop does. I think that's how
Yeah,
they
everybody
still do
does.
it. Yeah. It's been a few years since I've really been involved, but yeah. So they say, hey, all of you, like who's the best one of your bunch? Like who's the scout that is the best scout? And you get tapped out usually at a camporee, which a camporee is where multiple troops, the council. Do you guys do like district camporees and
Absolutely.
council camporees?
That's something we do at the troop meetings.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So like our council, we would do them at the spring or fall camporees, and you get they call it tapped out, and they're moving away from. I know a lot of
Called
the
out,
regalia called out. Yeah, and I know they're moving away from a lot of the Native American regalia. When I was in, that was a huge. Everyone would come out in headdresses and the local, Indian regalia, right? And so then there's a ordeal that you go through, and that's what it is called. And when you pass, so like you go for like a weekend camp out, and it's it's not hazing, it's nothing like a fraternity initiation, but it's a scout. You go there, you do some service, you do there's a little bit of I don't want to say suffering, but you go through a process, right? It's I'm making it
A lot
sound
of
so
culture,
bad.
a lot of cultures do that though. Like you have to.
Yeah, you
You
gotta
have
pay
to
your
go through a
dues kind of to
process,
get in there. Yeah. like, you know, it's very, very
Tasteful.
obviously. Yeah, I don't know what it was like back in the 30s, but obviously nowadays they're very you know, safety is paramount. I'll just put it that way. And it's about fellowship and camping and doing service projects. And the Order of the Arrow is about service with a smile. That's like our if the Scout motto is be prepared, that's the Order of the Arrow. And so when you complete that weekend and you're a member of the order, you'll get a sash like this one. This one's mine, and it has just an arrow. It'll have just the arrow on it, and then you will come back and they'll have like OA only, Order of the Arrow only, like campouts or events or service projects. Most of it's service projects. You'll go to, I'm sure, Cutler and Massaweepy and do, you know, hey, this building needs some repair. This trail needs some work. That's the kind of stuff we would do. And we would always help like get the camp ready, right, for the kids. We would put the tents up. We'd take the tents down every summer. So after a year of being in the Order of the Arrow, you can come back another weekend and kind of like seal your membership, become like a full brother, right? So brotherhood, they add these 2 bars, right? And that's like the full member. You're a member like for life, essentially, right? And you're in there. And then they have what's called Vigil Honor, which is the triangle in the middle. It's not a rank. No one's better for being a Vigil. You're still a brotherhood like member. Yeah. But what they do is it's still 50 to 1. I think it's for every 50 people in your.
It's actually, because I know we did a lot of recruiting to get members back into the lodges here, so
you can get more numbers up. Yeah. So your lodge, right? So every council has a lodge of their Order of the Arrow members. So that's what this patch is for, right? Denotes my lodge. So every year, however big your lodge is, mine had like 200 members ish. So every year we could pick 4 people to become vigils, right? So I think I got it in 2006. I was like 16. That was a good scouting year for me. That was the year I got Eagle Scout, and then I got Vigil, and then my council had a Distinguished Eagle Scout award, and I got that too that year. So that was like, you know, some people peak in high school. Like that was my it never got better for me in Scouts.